everyone can ask a question except for Paul Coro.
So, Jared, what's it like to be back?
You know, I've heard that question a lot. Being back has definitely been surreal for me. Just buying a home here, coming back. A lot of stuff is the same. A lot has changed in the same way. You know, go down Scottsdale's, new restaurants, new bars, and everything. So overall, it's been cool. You know, I don't really need a real estate planner here because I knew where everything's at. But overall, I think my wife probably was the most happiest with everything. So I'm definitely glad to be back, though.
How do you see your role in playing time next year?
My role, my role's been like this for the last 7-8 years overall. I mean, you try to compete for a starting job. I don't want just because I've come in, you have two rookies that it's handed to me. Overall, if Marquise or Bender deserve to start, they should start, even if it's right away. But overall, I think for me, it's to come in and show them. People always, I am here for a leadership role, and the best leaders that shown me has been by example. Steve and Grant when they were here. So for me, it's showing these young guys how to go first by example and then giving them advice throughout the process.
What has Earl had conversation-wise with you about your on-court
Well, I mean, it hasn't been a lot of dialogue when it comes to the on-court role. I mean, obviously they look at me to be a stretch power forward this time. There might be some times, depending on when PJ's out, maybe some at the 3 at times. So definitely, I mean, one of the huge reasons is the help development of the young guys. I mean, we all know that coming forward. But overall, we have a lot of dynamic guards with Booker, Bledsoe, and Knight. And so for me, just to space the floor, to give them space, to be able to attack the lanes, and then to keep the defense honest, hitting some threes from the outside. So I'll help in that regard.
You've been on a lot of teams where either there already was a big star or guys emerged in that role. How does Devin fit in that kind of process?
Devin, like Giannis, in the sense that we knew Giannis from Milwaukee was going to take over the franchise, and we all know Devin has the tools for that. He's shown that. I think coming this forward, for this year, last year for you guys at the end of the season, Sun season basically was over and they knew they weren't going to make the playoffs. You can play a type of basketball where everyone shoots it. But now, in a new year, you have to be able to shoot quality shots. So for Devin and B. Knight, Bledsoe going forward, it's getting good shots, and that's not getting just we call them volume shots. So for Devin, I mean, he has all the tools we expect him eventually to take over this franchise. So when I've seen him play pickup, has the demeanor, has the drive to want to be good, and that's key, because just because they have the talent doesn't mean they can be successful. Usually it's their work ethic, and so far so good for him. I think it's fair in the sense of the reason why. I mean, projections are projections, but they go by the year before. I mean, overall, the Suns health-wise, I mean, if Eric Bledsoe plays a lot of games, Suns have a lot more win total. So for us this year, a lot of it depends on his health because he's the general on the floor. Last year when I played with John, the year before when I played with CP, your point guard is the head of the snake. So if you can't run that offense, it hurts. So I think you guys have had problems with injuries like a lot of teams have. But I think them saying 26, 27 wins is fair. But it's for us now to come in and see, hey, I mean, when I got traded, they had you guys like 19 wins. You guys had 49. I mean, who would have thought that? So chemistry, this team's a little bit younger, but health at the guard position is so crucial for our success this season.
Giannis is a pretty athletic ball player. Who? Giannis. Devin fits in that class and just compared to.
Yeah, I mean, you said John?
You were talking about the guy in Milwaukee, Giannis. Like,
Giannis, yes.
Giannis compared
Yes.
to
Devin? I would say Devin is more skilled than Giannis at this time. He offensively, he doesn't have too many flaws. He can score from the three-point line, elbow, and post-up. He's stronger than I thought he would be at 19. He looks for physical contact, which is very rare for that age. I think from a maturity standpoint, him going to Kentucky having that year, Giannis came from overseas where it takes a little bit longer. So he knows the NBA game, and then he's had a lot of accolades, and I think that it's been warranted from his success. So then now it's just transitioning it and doing it in a winning format.
We talked about chemistry a little bit, but what's your impression so far of Coach Watson and what he's doing to help build that chemistry and that family atmosphere among the players?
Yeah, when it comes to chemistry, I mean, Coach Watson, probably more so than any coach that I've had, is really big in the family aspect. I mean, if you check son's Twitter or Snapchat that they have. I mean, we got yoga sessions we go to together. They did the San Diego when they were out there doing spin. We did spin class the other day. They go on hiking trips. So it's definitely a close-knit family, and I think that what he's trying to do is build that culture. We had very similar when I was here early on, but we had a lot more vets to young guys, and we just hung out. It wasn't anything planned, but overall, he's trying to set a precedent, so a lot of stuff is planned, but eventually how chemistry takes over is you don't plan it, it just naturally, how it just migrates in the sense of players just take over. Hey guys, we're here. Hey, we're going here. And you don't need to be, hey, we have a dinner at this time, a set schedule. That's a great question. Is a goal or expectation? I think those kind of go hand in hand. It's definitely a goal. I mean, let's just be honest. There hasn't been any team, including my Milwaukee team, which was the worst team in the NBA. No one ever goes in the year and says, hey, we're going to be bottom 2, bottom 3. Everyone usually says playoffs. And then around December, January, reality sets in, and that's when you see the tanking for some of these teams. I think for us, the goal is definitely playoffs. And for us to achieve that, defensively we'll have to be good, because there's going to be sometimes we don't have a star that you can give the ball every single time. Devin is becoming that one, but it's not like you have Melo, LeBron. So for us, it's defensively. So we're going to go in with the mindset to become a top 10 defense and try to get a playoff spot.
You just answered my question.
Okay.
What are the challenges defensively that's your success is?
Challenge defensively. I mean, I have a lot of challenges defensively. When at the power forward position, the reason why I like the power forward position was on pick and rolls. I thought defensively I can make a huge impact compared to most forwards, because I can be aggressive. I can switch screens sometimes depending on the guard. I can hedge and be able to get back to my defender. For my weaknesses would be more so boxing out power forwards like Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, and also weak side help. Instead of being able to, have two bigs that can block shots, I'm more of a person that's looking to take a charge. So when I've had my success in the power forward was Milwaukee, probably the most success I had, where we were so long and athletic, and Jason Kidd did such a good job defensively that we would double the post sometimes. We'd make them have to make a couple extra passes, and then they'd have to finish over John Henson and Giannis coming to block shots. And with that, we were so athletic, we can get out in transition. So it's a plus for me coming here, because you have someone like Tyson Chandler, who's a 7-footer who can block shots, and Alex Lynn. But I'll definitely have my hands full from night to night. And I look at it like this. You could be a top 10 defender in the league, Draymond Green. Guarding Blake Griffin's going to be hard. Guarding Zach Randolph. So what I have to do, the stats won't show up for me. I'm not going to outscore those guys. The question is going to be my plus minus when I'm out there, where maybe I get a deflection, maybe I make the extra pass that becomes the hockey assist for some. So for me, it's not playing the one-on-one game. It's more of a team game, and trying to space the floor and hit threes to basically have it to our advantage.
You talked about playing with Giannis. Is that something that's going to help playing now with Dragic and Marquise, two guys very young?
Well, my Milwaukee situation helped me to be able to come here. If I didn't go to Milwaukee, I don't even know if I'd be back here in Phoenix, because I showed on a young team, which was I think the second youngest team, you can still win and develop young guys. As you saw, Giannis just signed a max contract for them. And after the vets left, if you saw, they went from a playoff team to not making the playoffs. So if you look at the Philly situation, you need vets to help groom these guys. So for me, yes, it'll definitely help me. People say I might be an old vet, but overall I'm just 30. So overall I'm not that old, and when it comes down to it, I'm maybe 31 in a sense. So it's not like I'm far removed from these guys. I still do the same things. It's not like when Grant was here and he was 36, 37. So the conversation barrier is not going to be too far off. But 19 is still 19. So I think for me, it's easy to talk to these guys, but at the same time, they got to know when to be pros and when not to be pros. And on this team, there's so many young guys that they might form a clique, and it's going to be important for me, Tyson, and PJ to be able to break those cliques up and make it more of a team thing.
Are there going to be moments on the court specifically when you see Dragic and Marquise doing something that you saw mistakes that Giannis made?
For sure. If you ever talk to Giannis, the one thing he missed was during the timeouts when I was out of the game and he was in the games, to give him a couple key pointers to test out, because someone like he couldn't shoot the ball and how they were playing him defensively, or defensively him gambling. So you'll see me talking to these young kids throughout the whole time, to the point where they might tell me to shut up, overall, where they probably won't like it, where you try to ingrain into them the first 3-4 months hard, where you kind of get on their nerves and break it down, and then second half you let them play because they've learned it all. Now it's for them to soak that knowledge in, but there's going to be a lot of growing pains up and down.
What do you get out of that mentorship role?
Well, you get out of it just for success. So overall, you look at us, even though that we were young, we still won. We took the Bulls to game 6 at home in Milwaukee. So at the end of the season, people had us 19, 20 wins, go to the playoffs. You're the underdog, and we've always thrived as the underdog myself. And then you look at their development. The player Giannis was 2 years ago, to him signing a $100 million deal, it shows that, hey, you helped that process. How many dunks? I've had no dunks since my back surgery. I got 5. We're going to go on a low number 5. All right, one more question. I got to roll. Oh, for sure. Conversations come to Kaepernick and stuff like that. I mean, that's the number one topic right now throughout society. I mean, you just see that. I mean, I don't think players in the sense of, hey, this is what we're going to do. I think right now players are just trying to, what can we do to help this problem with unarmed people getting shot, and what can, as a society, what kind of athletes kind of effect you have. You see Melo more out. Kaepernick, agree or disagree with it, he's bringing awareness to the situation where you're talking about it. Some on the spectrum, he's being disrespectful. Some on the spectrum are saying, hey, I understand where he's coming from. I don't like the way he's doing it, but I understand the message. So the only thing that I would wish with his message is, what's going to make him have to stand up eventually for the flag? Like, what does he have to see? Do we have to see police being prosecuted? Do we have to see this? So when it comes to players, usually players always do stuff to basically bring camaraderie, but no one's really talked about what steps necessarily. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks.